Hey everybody, it's Brittany at Big Cat Rescue in Tampa, Florida, here with another home tour for you. And today I want to show you Nikita Lion and her entire enclosure. So what I'm going to do is just walk around her full enclosure and just point out all of the features and all the details she has. This right here is a giant concrete den. It even has a little window in it so that if she is in there and we need to get our eyes on her, we can. And she has two ways to get into that den. So there's two little doorways, nice and big space in there where she can get out of the rain, out of the elements if she wants to, although she's been known to just lay out and enjoy it. So this area is part of her roof section. You'll see that she has a roof and an open air section. This giant box that you see here is what we call a feeding lockout. So every single morning she has breakfast in this area. You can see that there's a guillotine door and the rope attaches to this post over here. It has a concrete slab in there and it also has a large water bowl. Every single day after we feed in the morning, the cleaners come back around and they make sure that the plates have been sanitized, there's no leftover food or anything like that, and then they completely dump, scrub out, and refill all of the water bowls. She is a lion, so you can see that we actually have it in a way where she cannot just rip this bowl right out of the lockout, which she has tried before. So when cleaners and feeders come around, we close this door on her lockout so that she cannot enter it while we are cleaning or putting the food in. Then when it's time to feed her, we lift the door. So we try to keep the enclosures as natural as possible. So they have soft ground, they have foliage, she has a lot of palmettos and lots of trees. So, and again, you can see that there is a roof on this section. Each square is 4 inches, so 4x4 wire, galvanized steel. Some of the areas we try to paint and it almost looks like a rust color, but it is actually Rust-Oleum paint. So over time though, you'll notice it starts to look a little green. That's just from algae and age and sunlight. So this area right here, which looks like a ton of wire on this video, and it is a giant safety entrance for Nikita. So you can see that it's just a giant boxed in area and there are 2 different doorways to it. So right here you see a lock and then you see multiple silver clips that close that door in. There is always 2 doors between us and the cat and to the outside. So we would have to open this door, then we would go in, and if we need to go into her enclosure in this direction, we'd make sure she was not over there. And then we could remove those locks and clips. Otherwise, if you look straight behind, if we needed to get into the section I just showed you, there is a totally different doorway straight ahead. Same deal, there's the black locks and the silver clips. And for her to get from one roof section to another, there's another guillotine door there. So we can open and close that and shift her around as needed. So she has another concrete den here. These concrete dens are amazing because they're capable of staying cool in the summer and warm in the winter. So another look here. She has a huge section. We're gonna walk around the entire thing so you'll see this from a different angle. A lot of people ask or see this during a live. This used to be a way that we would use for water bowls, but it's almost impossible to keep clean. So now it's just kind of a little rock structure still in the enclosure, but that is not where they drink water anymore. We are always learning and changing our ways to best fit the sanctuary and the cats. So she's a nice sunny grassy area. This is the front part of her roof section, which you would see if you'd ever come on a guided tour here. And the white piping that you see is for sprinkler systems. So she does have a tunnel here that leads her from her roof section to her open air section. And you can see that both sides have a guillotine door on them again. And then those poles are connected, or I'm sorry, those ropes are connected to a pole off the side. So if we ever need to close her in the roof section or in the open air section, we just close these doors here. So she does have a water bowl out here as well. So this is also topped off and cleaned daily. So if she ever has to be closed out here so we can go in and rake or do anything like that, then we are able to do that. We just shift her around and there are locks and different things where we can keep her safely in one section. So it is summertime in Florida right now, so we are mowing grass constantly. We do try to keep it at a manageable level, but we also try to keep it as natural as possible for the cats. So you'll see she has some really big toys. She has been hoarding those in the corner back there. She also has a fire hose hammock. We've only seen her on it once or twice, and it was a glorious moment. She does have this huge platform here. So multiple levels. She can lay under it in the shade. She can lay on it in the shade. There's also a ramp that helps her get up and down. Nikita, the lion, here is almost 19 years old. And I'll tell you a little bit about her story once we find her. I've already seen her, but we'll get up closer. This is a really amazing graphic that we put on Nikita's enclosure when we were doing guided educational tours. Short live the king, and it's talking about how dangerous and terrible that cub petting can be for these animals. Really powerful. So over here, we're still walking along her open air section. Now you might wonder why we have open air and roof sections. So again, we are in Florida, and if we are ever going to have a storm, we are able to shift the cats from their open air, where if a tree were to fall or there was any reason that we'd have to worry about high winds, then we shift them over into their roof section. The way these cages are designed, if something falls on them, they crumble and crush inward rather than exploding and leaving a giant gaping hole for an animal to escape. So we never we never leave them in their open air, because if a tree were to fall, it'd be like an exit ramp. So this is another one of those safety entrances, exactly like I showed you on the other side. So there's two doors between us and her, and this outside door would be completely closed and locked before we open the interior door. That's so we can go in and mow and weed eat and do all that kind of stuff, which we do a lot. There she is right now. Go around the back side here. So once the cleaners come out and they've cleaned the feeding area, they also make sure that they have looked for feces or old enrichment or anything that needs pulled out. We use a long metal scraper pole to pull any of that debris to the side, and then we just pull it out, and we do that every single day. And then a double checker will come around after that. She's been rolling around in the dirt. So here's Miss Nikita. It's a very hot day, so she's doing exactly what lions do. Nikita was actually found many years ago chained to a wall in a basement in Tennessee during a drug raid. And she had been declawed, assuming that her previous owner thought that would make her safer to own, but still his security system. Unfortunately, she had been declawed, and so their attempt at adding her into a pride at a zoo was not going to work because she had lost one of her major defenses. And she really dislikes seeing other animals, other cats. She feels very, I think, threatened and kind of competitive, especially not having her claws. And she's also very picky with certain keepers. So we give Nikita a lot of space, and we just kind of let her do her own thing. So that is why she is kind of tucked in a corner all by herself here at the sanctuary. So we're gonna go all around the corner. We do not want to mess with her toys. She's very protective of her toys. Try to get you one more view of this lazy lioness. So because she was declawed and has lived like that for a very long time, she's about 19 years old, she is on a pain management regimen. She does get medications every single day, and we just try to make it as easy as possible on her. We also have to watch how much she eats because captive big cats can get very overweight, and when you already have arthritis and sore paws from being declawed, last thing you want is for them to be super overweight. So she's doing really well in that department. So we are still walking around. This is another view of the hammock, and she does have an Explore camera on her cage. So at bigcatcams.com you can find a list of all of our live cameras. So that's what you see over there in that corner. And you'll find Nikita Lioness on her camera, as well as several others around the property. So that's that tunnel that leads her back over here. This is back to her roof section again. She really loves this little corner over here. So anytime she is in her roof section, 90% of the time she prefers to be in the open air section. But she loves this little corner. She gets right in the middle of all these palmettos. You can see where the sand is kind of worn down. She really likes to roll around over here. I think it's nice and cool. And we'll keep walking because we're almost to the end. Right back to where we started. So another view of her little palmetto palace. Here's the other view of her other big concrete den. And she can walk through this doorway. This is one of her favorite bubbles because it's where her feeding lockout is. It's where breakfast comes. So she likes to lay on top of this big concrete den. A lot of these enclosures had been built for smaller cats when we first started back in the 90s. So bobcats and cougars, and since she's so large and we would never want her to try to go in to something so small, we do have the little doorways blocked off. But she really enjoys, one of her favorite things to do in the morning is to keep walking between these trees and rubbing against them. She'll circle around this den multiple times, then eventually she'll go and lay up on top of it like it's a throne. That's why we call her royal lioness. So we are back to the beginning here. I've been doing these videos just to help people that are new to us and don't fully understand our cage sizes. It's really difficult for you to see her entire enclosure with, you know, one camera shot or one little video where we don't walk the entire thing. So where some people might find this a little boring, I hope everybody else takes away from it that there's more to their enclosures than what you think. And if you have other questions, just go to bigcatrescue.org/cages.